I really want us to think about how can we think about restoring civil digital discourse? What are your thoughts and ideas of how we can begin to restore civil digital discourse?
While we wait for some feedback to come in the chat, I think personally what comes to mind is just having a more open mind. I think personally, I'm quick to add context or tone to things I'm reading, whether it's an email and they started with something. There's always someone that says, like, depending on how they open it, like, as per my last email, right? Something like that, where it's really sassy. And you can tend to add your own tone to when you read something like that. I think it's to try to be more patient and to personally to try not to add tone and context to something that's not there, not making those assumptions. And I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks. What are some things that come to mind for you, Dr. Nagando?
So for me, I have a few ideas on how we can restore digital, civil digital discourse. My first thing is, don't read with the intent to reply, but read with the intent to understand, right? So don't already come to the conversation all fired up, like, and then without, bothering to stop and trying to think, okay, what is this person trying to say, and why would they be saying it that way, right? And even with the intent to reply, it's not about just your gut reaction at the moment. I always just try to stop and think and say, okay, because sometimes my gut reaction is probably not the most civil reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to also stop and breathe and think, okay, why is this person saying what they're saying? Like, what is the context behind? So, you know, with everything, I know it's a lot. We are all going through a lot. We're going through a lot. That's just one added thing we're asking each other to do. But, without trying to understand what the person is doing, right? Isn't that what communication is about? Is also understanding. Then why are you replying, and what response are you expecting from your reply that you didn't even bother understanding what I'm trying to say, and now you're coming here with your reply? How do you
Mm-hmm.
think that's going to go down moving forward, right?
Yeah, I think those are
Um,
great points.
and
What? Go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was going to just also add, right? So in thinking about where do we go from here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I like to say you have agency. You can decide whether to engage or not, right? You don't always have to engage in everything. You have the agency to block the trolls. You have the agency to block the cyberbullies and so forth. And also just remember that your online reputation, that equals your in-person reputation. Those are no longer separate things. Who you are online is who you are on person. So think about those things. Would you do that? Would you say or do those things in person? If not, why
Mm-hmm.
are you doing it on a digital platform? And um, understand that freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences, right? You have the right to say whatever you want, or to a certain extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, just know that these things will come with consequences as well, in terms of, will you be banned from that platform, or are you going to lose your job? Are people going to, come for you in the comments, and so forth? So just remember that your freedom of speech does not protect you from consequences. And, think twice, rewrite thrice, and post once.
Those are great points, Dr. Nagando. I think to wrap things up, we do have a couple quick questions from Aiden. Aiden, thanks for your engagement. Um, I'll kind of combine both of them for you, but ultimately it's to what degree should we discuss some of these complex and controversial topics around politics and religion, social issues? How much of those complexities and controversies do you think factor into the conversations that we're having, and what ideas do you have for increasing more positive engagements around those social issues? Is it avoiding talking about those in an online platform? Is it what do you think that looks like moving forward as a big step to add more civility back to public discourse?
The thing is that topics that you mentioned, religion, politics, those are the very things that I feel have contributed to the, you know, uncivil discourse we have on digital media. And no, we can't not talk about them. These are the, you know, part of a society. These are the very fabric of who we are. So it's about, again, seeking understanding, getting out of our echo chambers, and especially when it comes to religion and politics, people tend to be in very distinct camps and are not ever willing to cross over to the other side to hear what the other people are saying. So, as you mentioned before, maybe being more open-minded. But I think within that as well, with my last slide, is be a purveyor of truth, right? Even when you're speaking about politics, when you're speaking about religion, whatever it is that you're speaking about. And I think if you're coming from a place of truth, right, that is backed by facts, and I think then we can start having civil conversations. I think it gets uncivil because everybody is coming with their feelings and thoughts and misinformation. And so the other person gets angry because, like, well, what you're saying is not true, and so forth. And so we really just need to base what we're saying in the truth, right? And if you are finding and stop spreading lies and stop spreading misinformation um, and stop responding just to respond or to get a reaction out of people. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we have to talk about these things. I mean, what are we doing if we're not talking about politics, religion, and so forth? But there is a way to do it in a civil manner and to agree to disagree, for sure.
Those are great points. Thank you so much, Dr. Nagando. And I